a lot of you guys were wondering. So this is just gonna be like a video about like why I smoke, what caused me to start smoking, the usual questions that I get about my smoking. First off, I'm putting out a little disclaimer. I don't know if that's the right word, but I do not smoke because I think it's cool or I'm trying to impress anyone. I smoke for my reasons, and these are my reasons. One reason is because, first of all, if you're a smoker, you'll understand. If you're a non-smoker, you might not understand. But when you smoke, like cigarettes, I'm not talking about any drugs because I'm not on drugs. Even though it may seem like I'm on drugs, I am not on drugs. Do not do drugs. Drugs are bad. But when I smoke, a lot of people ask me like, "Oh, why do you smoke?" Here are the reasons why I actually smoke. When I first started smoking, I was about 10 or 11, I think, or maybe 12. Um, and I remember me and my friend I was having a sleepover at her house, and I saw my sister, she left like that much of a cigarette left, and I took a whole bunch, put them in my bag, went to my friend's house with a lighter, and I was like, yo, let's, go out at night and smoke. And we did exactly that. We went to the end of our block, and as a first time smoker, I guess you can say, you don't really inhale on your first time because you have to get used to having smoke in your mouth. But I remember there was also a lot of things going on when I tried it. My mom was dating this guy who got her into a lot of alcohol. Like, I wouldn't say my mom was an alcoholic, but he definitely, like, there would be nights where my mom would just drink and drink and drink and drink until she passed out, and then, like, I was the type of kid when I was younger where I would not be able to fall asleep unless my mom was sleeping next to me. I was just, because, like, I've never really had a father figure in my life until recently, around, like, either the 6th or 7th grade. But there was a lot of things going on where my mom was dating this guy. I'm not going to say any names, but my mom was dating this guy, and, like, he got her to do, like, he got her to do drugs. He got her to drink more than she really could handle. And me and my sister were like, that's why me and my sister are really close, because there have just been days when I was younger where, like, my sister would have her boyfriend over and he would have his friends over, and we would all be hanging out, and my mom would, be drinking with her boyfriend to the point where she would just pass out. And it was really hard for me to understand what was going on. Obviously as a kid you do not know what's going on. When people are drinking and you're like 9 years old or something, you really don't really, like, understand fully why, like, what's going on. So with my sister, she didn't like the guy that my mom was dating for many reasons. Um, but yeah, actually the guy that my sister was dating at the time recently, I think it was last year, he passed away. Yeah, it was last year. Oh my god, it's gonna be a year in May. But, you know, we decide, like, we all used to hang out, and, as a kid at 9 years old, you're hanging out with your friends in the summertime. You're all having a good time while your sister's partying, and your mom's partying and you're all partying, and like we used to like. I remember when I was younger, my sister would be able to throw the craziest parties. Um, and like I was just always like that was my life. And then as days went on, like they would be like on school nights even like when school was in like they'd be dating. They were still dating and I would stay up until like 12 o'clock trying to wake my mom up. Um and I'd be like, "Mom, wake up," and she'd like kind of open her eyes and be like, "I'm coming to bed." And then I'll like sit in bed for like 10 minutes and she's not there yet. And I'd go back out there and I'd be like, "Mom, come on, it's school night. Like, you have work in the morning. I have to go to school." She's like, "Okay, I'm coming." And there would be nights where like I would have to like call my sister because she'd either be out with her boyfriend or out working at her. She worked at a hula hands, so she would be working and I would call her up and I'd be like, "Mommy's not waking up. You know, I need I don't want to go wake up grandma." There'd be nights where I would have to like I'd have to like go upstairs, wake up my grandmother and be like, "Mommy's not waking up." And I've just had like a really tough life where I kind of started smoking in like maybe the 6th grade. I think it was. Um, yeah, it was probably like the 6th grade. I was like 12 or something. I went into my sister's room. She was out with her boyfriend. Um, I picked up some cigarettes. I picked up a lighter that I randomly found, and I went to go sleep over at my friend's house. And I was just like, I want to do this. I want to try this at least once, cause like everyone around me, my mom, my grandma, my sister's boyfriend, my mom's boyfriend, everyone smoked around me. Like my cousins, my like almost everyone around me like was a smoker. Um, and I was like a really good kid. Like I didn't really do anything bad, and I'm still like a really good kid. I don't really do anything bad except I smoke. And there was like a point in my life where I was just like, I remember like in 7th grade, me and my sister and my mom got a call that my sister's father, who's the only father figure in my life, like he would come around like once a month or once a year, come see us, you know. And one night he went out drinking, came home, and he fell, hit his head, had a stroke, and he was in the hospital for a very long time. And I was in the 7th grade, and you know, I remember like my sister and her boyfriend would drive down like right after school, go see my sister's dad, who's I have him in my phone as daddy. That's the only guy who like him and my sister's ex were like the most. I'm trying to make a video. I'm trying to make a video.
I'm trying to do more videos.
I should really get new dressers. That's a sweater. So anyway, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. So in the 7th grade, my father, I call him my father, I don't care, but my father, because up until the maybe summer that I was going into 8th grade, or in 8th grade, I was told that, like, my sister and her friend, and we were hanging out at our local Dunkin' Donuts. We were gonna go shopping and everything, because my sister always buys my clothes, until recently. But we went out to Dunkin' Donuts, and they're like, oh, we have to tell you something. And I was like, what? And I thought they were gonna, like, tell me, like, oh, I was gonna get something awesome. I was told that my mom, after my sister was born, my mom and my sister's father, like, were broken up. And my mom, dated this one guy, and they had me, and he ran off without saying a word. And he has a whole new family, and he's had a whole new family. And I remember my sister was like, we have different fathers. Like, we are half sisters. And I was like, no, you're joking. You have to be joking. Like, you're my full sister. You're my blood. But she was like, no, do you want to see your other sister? You have another sister. And I was like, let me think. And believe it or not, I do have another sister. She looks a lot like me. I look a lot like her, actually, I should say, because she's the oldest. She's 30 something. She's old. No, I'm kidding. But we were, and I was like, oh my god, like, I have one, this and that, whatever. I'm like, not even talking. And I started realizing that, like, you can't really expect things to happen. You have to just, see if they do happen. You, like, have expectation, but don't have too much expectation, because something can go wrong. Like, I know my other sister, she doesn't drive. And there'd be, like, countless times where I'd be like I added her on Facebook, or she added me on Facebook, and was like, are you Teresa? You're my sister, this and that. And I would be like, yeah. She'd be like, oh, how you doing, sweetheart? Like, I have her number. We text each other. We talk. I have her on Facebook. I have her on Instagram, everything. And, like, all in, like, this little time in, like, 7th grade, a lot of stuff was, like, ganging up on me, like, start of bullying, which was terrifying. Like, I've had, people call me names, people start rumors about me, this and that, but I've never had, like, someone push me into a locker, or, like, threaten to beat the shit out of me or something, like, as they say, like, oh, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this and that, like, watch after school. And, like, I was really afraid of that. Like, of course, like, anyone would be. Like, when you're getting threats, especially if you're like me, I can't fight to save my life. Like, I mean, I can a little. Like, I know how to, like, throw a punch. But when it comes to the point where, like, someone hits me or something, I just run away crying. Like, I remember I got punched. It was like 2 summers ago. I got punched in the face by this guy because I was on the bike. I was on a bike, and he wanted the bike, and I was like, no, I'm on the bike. And he picked up the bike, and I was like, and I went to go grab onto his head, so, like, I didn't fall backwards and, like, crack my skull open. And I guess, like, I slapped his head really hard when I went to, like, grab it. And I got off the bike, and he punched me. And this guy, luckily there was a guy down at the park that we were at, and was like, why are you hitting this girl? Like, what did she do to you? he was like, she slapped me, this and that. And he was like, did you slap him? And I was like, no, I was on a bike. He picked up the front wheel. I was about to fall. I grabbed onto his head so I didn't crack my skull. And, like, I ran away and I was like, I was threatening to call the cops on this kid. But, like, in 7th grade, I got, like, a lot of stuff put on me where, like, the only guy that was, like, my father is in the hospital right now. I'm getting bullied. And to top that all off, I just found out that the only reason why I've never really known my father was because he has a different family. And, like, there's been, if you guys don't know the song by, I think it's Daddy Yankee, I don't know. But, it's called Daddy's Little Girl. Actually, I'm gonna... Daddy's Little Girl by... Oh, it's Frankie J's song, Daddy's Little Girl. He's a Spanish singer. There's been countless hours where, like, I will just sit in my room, like, when my friend first showed me that song, I would sit in my room and just cry, because, first of all, I never met my real father. My sister's dad wasn't really around for a long time. I know I'm getting really, like, kind of upset about this, but, like, I thought you guys should know, because you guys are, like, a lot to, but, I gotta calm down a little. But, you know, so, like, I decided I'm gonna, like, you know, start smoking to see, like, what, because I always heard, like, smoking relieves stress. But, you know, I decided, okay, I'm gonna do this. And, you know, that's the start of my smoking. I never tried to do it because, oh, everyone's doing it, it's so cool. But, like, there's been countless hours that I've just, like, in 8th grade, in 8th grade, that's when the bullying really got out of control, where I think it was, like, almost time, like, it was the middle of the year, some girl, I think it was, like, in springtime or something, the middle of the year, like, it was almost time for school to get out, like, I wish I could have, like, you know, stayed there and, like, stood my ground, but, like, of course, I'm a tiny little girl. I used to get called, like, you know, skinny bitch, or, like, you know, you're a loser, you're a freak, like, and in 8th grade, you don't know, really, like, why anyone's doing that, but I was only about, like, 13, 12 or 13, and countless hours of me getting ripped on in school. I remember, one of my crushes. No, I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, like, like, in 8th grade, that's when bullying got really out of hand. I think right after our school pictures, that's when it really got out of hand. We were just about to graduate. Okay. We were just about to graduate. We were just about to do this, that. Like, everything was, you know, happening. That's when all our school trips were. And in 7th grade, I had a best friend, but she went to a different school, and so I was just like, whatever. Like, I guess I have to get along without her. And I had another friend who was a fake friend because she was scared of everyone else. And, you know, when you're scared, you turn against a lot of your friends. I've come to find out. Because this girl didn't really fit in. Like, you know, people would, like, make her dance. Like, you know, if you're from Jersey, you know, like, the dances, like, the sexy walk, and, you know, I like the way she moved, dance. They would make her, like, do all these dances, and she'd do them even though she didn't want to do them, because she knew that she couldn't really do them. And they would tell me to do them, and I'd be like, no, and they'd be like, do it. And I'd be like, no, like, stop trying to pressure me into doing these things. And that's when I was like, that's the only time, like, I would legit sit in my room with the window wide open, smoking a cigarette, and, like, I would hide the cigarettes. And finally, like, in freshman year, my mom found out about my smoking, and she was cool with it. She was just like, you know, I knew all along that you were smoking. I just, you know, I just don't want you lying about it. So my mom was cool about it, but, like, you guys gotta, like, understand the reason why I am who I am today is because in 8th grade, I was getting brutally bullied by a lot of people because I'm not trying to sound racist at any way because I'm really not, but I was probably the only white girl student in that building. And it was very hard. I had two teachers, the only two teachers that I ever trusted was my language arts teacher and my math teacher. And, oh, I had three teachers then, because my science teacher too. And I remember I was at gym one day, and I walked, you know, past this one girl, no, that was in 7th grade, never mind. But in 8th grade, you know, the bullying got really bad to the point where I was just like, I want to kill myself. And I told that to, like, I told that to some girl. And she reported it because one of the teachers also heard it. And I got taken out of school. They called my mom. I got sent to a psychiatrist. It kind of, like, makes me cry a little bit, but I got sent to a psychiatrist. And, you know, they were asking me, like, why did I say that? And I was like, I'm getting bullied. Like, that's why now, like, I kind of act like I don't really care what people say. But, like, it still hurts because, like, especially when people talk about, like, my family, people used to say that my mom she didn't care about me. Because I remember there would be, like, some days that I would go to school and I'd be like, and I couldn't even go to school because I would want my mom, because she would go to work and then she would go watch her soap opera and, you know, start drinking, playing games on the computer, and I would feel like, you know, she didn't really care about me. Also with the people saying that my mom doesn't care about me. And that's why I'm really grateful now, because I got out of that school. I was put on home instruction. um, I was put in home instruction. The only time I had to go back to that school was for testing, but I was put into a single room. I actually saw a lot of the people who used to bully me, and they would like look at me and laugh and be like, "Oh, looks like we see a ghost or something." And it was really hard for me, but I got through it. I got through it. I don't like if there's anyone out there who thinks that they can't get through it. I remember I used to like say like there's been countless times that I've in 8th grade that I've tried to cut myself, but I never got the courage. And like I would try to gain weight because people would say I'm so skinny. I look anorexic, and I hated it. Actually, a few months ago, I was talking to this kid goes that used to go to my school when I was getting bullied, and he was actually one of my old crushes from like 7th through 8th grade, and he would try to help me out sometimes, but you know he was also a part of the cool crowd. He didn't want to be seen as a loser, so like when no one was around, he would like be like, "Are you okay? You know, are you okay? Do you need help?" And you know, I would blush and think it was so sweet that he wanted to help me, but then his friends would be along with him, and he'd be like calling me a bitch or just something like that. And you know, those are the reasons why I started smoking, and smoking is addictive, obviously, but now I embrace it because like people would say like, "Oh, you come to school smelling like smoke, like you're such an," like, they would think I was like disgusting for it. But hold on. Any but like, you know, throughout a lot of 8th grade, I only like also like when my sister's dad was in the hospital. I don't care. I'm calling him my dad. When he was in the hospital, there was nothing like I would be terrified to step near him because he looked broken, and you know he had tubes all, you know, tubes to help him breathe, tubes so like you know he didn't get up to use the bathroom, he could just use the bathroom there. I know those are really gross, but and like he would beg for me to come over and like hug him or something, but I was scared that like I would break him or hurt him in any way. And I remember I was telling my best friend in 7th grade how my dad's in the hospital and everything. And this one girl decided to make a joke and was like, "Oh, he probably did that to get away from you." And that really hurt because, you know, no one deserves to get bullied. I know a lot of people think it's just joking around, but it's really not. It's something serious. You There's been countless deaths of teenagers like everywhere around the world, around the US, around China, and everywhere just because one thing hasn't been stopped. One thing. And I'm so thankful I have, you know, my mom and my sister and my grandmother and you guys and my friends because for a while all I thought was I have my sister and my friends. That's all I have. Now I know I have my friends, my mother, my sister, my grandmother, my sister's boyfriend, everyone. And I have you guys, I have a lot of people. And this is a 30-minute video. I don't know if you guys are gonna watch this or not, but I just wanted to say, you know, you can get through it. Just have faith. Just know that everyone, like, I'm sorry, guys. Just know that you have, you know, you have people that care about you, and you have people that love you. Like, don't let anyone tell you anything different. I remember I got into a fight with this girl, and she said, at least I have a dad who sees me every day, and who cares about me, and at least I have a mother who cares about me. And when you hear that stuff from other people, and then, you know, your mom is, like, you only have a mother, and she's working, and, you know, trying her best, and you don't really see her a lot, and people are telling you that your mom doesn't care about you, and you don't have a father because he doesn't care about you, it hurts. And, like, I don't think anyone should feel like they're not important enough to be on this planet. Like, I have had times where I have, you know, cut myself, but, like, that's all over and done with. I remember in 8th grade I told the kids, like, they were like, oh, you're emo, do you cut yourself? And I was like, yeah, I actually do. And they were like, oh, let me see, let me see. And I was like, there's somewhere where you can't see. And then they started making jokes. Oh, she's cutting her down there. Oh, she's cutting her these. Like, you don't make jokes about cutting. You don't make jokes about self-harm. Because I was saying, because I did have, like, I did used to cut my legs for a while, and then I moved on to my wrist, where I have, you can't really see the scars anymore on my wrist, because they're not deep scars, but there's lines. And every line there, it shows that I was a fighter, and I think that's the reasons why I smoke. And if you don't like me because I smoke, I really don't give a fuck, because there are a lot of people who love me just because I'm me, I keep it real, and I smoke. And thank you guys for listening to my story. I really hope, you know, you guys can find faith and, you know, just keep believing, chase after your dreams. I love you. There's people out there that love you. If you can't find people out there that love you, just know that I love you for who you are. You guys, I love you all. You guys are so supportive, and bye.